Well, right now, a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs is back on the stand in his sex trafficking trial, testifying under the pseudonym Mia. She described Combs as violent and recalled a time when she thought he would kill his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and if convicted, he faces life in prison. We're joined now by defense and trial attorney Misty Marris. Hi, Misty. What have been your biggest takeaways from Mia's testimony so far?
Mia's testimony has been very effective for the prosecution for a couple of reasons. First, it corroborates Cassie Ventura's testimony of abuse. She personally saw Combs abuse Cassie Ventura many times throughout the course of her employment. But it goes even beyond that. Her testimony speaks to a central theme by the prosecutors that Combs uses force and intimidation to coerce women into sexual acts. We've heard about 2 horrific sexual assaults, which she testified about on the stand yesterday. So all of that is going to speak to the elements required for force, fraud, and coercion for sex trafficking. But her testimony was also critical for the racketeering conspiracy charges, because her testimony is formulating the prosecution's case for one of those predicate crimes of forced labor. Something very compelling. Yesterday, she testified she didn't feel that she could leave the job because she tried to run before, but it didn't work. So all of that is feeding in to the necessary elements of the prosecutor's case for those critical charges.
And there's also a question whether Sean Diddy Combs should testify or not. What do you think about that?
Well, I remember hearing his lawyer in an interview saying that, I don't know if I can keep him off the stand. That being said, it is highly unlikely that he will testify. And my guess would be that his legal team is telling him he's better off invoking his right to remain silent, because there's so much that can come in on cross-examination that the jury would not otherwise hear. Think about all of what we've heard in this trial. Some of that could be fair game. There's been a lot that's been excluded, and the defense strategically is going to say the risk is higher than the reward. That being said, it's important to note that the defendant ultimately has the choice to testify. The lawyer makes a recommendation, but the defendant ultimately is the one to make that call. So I think it's highly unlikely, but if Diddy wants to do it, he's the one who ultimately will make that decision.
We shall see. So what are you looking forward to next in this trial?
So right now, Mia is still on the stand. Again, this is her direct examination. It's been very compelling, and it's really speaking to these racketeering charges and the predicate crimes. Now we've heard about forced labor, arson, and kidnapping from various witnesses. But what we need from prosecutors in order to formulate their argument for racketeering conspiracy is more information on the criminal enterprise. Remember, the charge requires that racketeering activity, crimes, are being committed in furtherance of a criminal enterprise. So I'm looking for more individuals who are co-conspirators from the prosecution's witnesses who will testify about what's called the means and methods of the criminal enterprise. What does that mean in layman's terms? How it works, what it does, what's its purpose. We haven't gotten there yet. We've heard a lot about the crimes, but not a lot about the enterprise itself.
All right, Misty Marris, thank you so much.